So all I want to know is why hasn't mainstream news touched this subject, guys? Because right now, Chinese TikTokers are straight up exposing what might be the biggest luxury scandal ever. They're showing videos inside the factories where real luxury items are being made right next to replicas. Same stitching, same leather, but here's the twist. One handbag might sell for $30 and the other $3,000. And y'all, most people can't even tell the difference. So, are we being scammed or sold a fantasy that was never real in the first place? Y'all, let's talk about it. They say money can't buy happiness, but for some, it buys validation, identity, a name stitched in gold. In the world of high fashion, where prestige is priced in the thousands, the illusion of exclusivity is everything until it isn't. This is the story of how a global empire built on trust, image, and wealth was cracked wide open, not by journalists or governments, but by a phone camera and a factory worker with nothing left to lose. China, not the neon glow of Shanghai or the steel skyline of Beijing, but the back streets, the industrial maze of provinces like Fujian and Guangdong, where the air smells like glue, leather, and secrets. And if you would just take a moment to subscribe to the channel, like the video, I would really appreciate it because this story is global and I think it's going to change the course of how people buy luxury and certainly how they view luxury in the future. Inside dimly lit factories, men and women hunch over stitching machines for 14-hour days. No music, no phones, just needle, thread, and silence. Here behind rusted loading docks and unmarked gates, the truth is forged. One logo at a time, one bag, one buckle, one lie. Because these factories don't just manufacture for the world's biggest luxury brands, they manufacture the world's best imitations. And sometimes there's no difference at all. The illusion of luxury. It doesn't begin in Paris. It begins here with a quiet assembly line, a perfect stitch, and a lie that cost thousands. And guys, you know how it works. There's always one person who's willing to talk. And if you push them far enough, they'll bring other people with them. So the silence didn't last. One by one, factory workers turned content creators. On TikTok and WeChat, they began to speak with proof. Video by video, they exposed the truth. Rows of designer bags made before sunrise, some labeled for boutiques, others sold under the table, identical stitching, identical hardware, identical deception. And just like that, the luxury fantasy cracked open for the world to see. So now there's a global fallout. This wasn't a pretty knockoff scandal, guys. This was a global betrayal. Investigators uncovered entire warehouses filled with counterfeit luxury goods. From New York to Paris, over 800,000 customers were possibly defrauded, and many didn't even know it or doesn't even know it to this day. High-end influencers unknowingly modeled fake handbags. Online boutiques sold them as authentic, and social media turned the counterfeiting business into a billion-dollar side hustle. A fake never looked so real. So you guys know I always have a $1 million question. And today is, was this revenge or routine? Because some people believe this was more than greed, it was revenge. After years of rising trade tensions, targeted sanctions, and the explosive rollout of President Trump's tariffs on China, could it be that China's once shadowy luxury counterfeit industry isn't so hidden anymore? And maybe the bigger twist, maybe China just doesn't care. Now, I'm not saying that I'm for or against tariffs, and it's not that type of conversation. It's just a question because the timing seems a bit sus. By turning a blind eye to counterfeiters hitting Western luxury where it hurts, or maybe this is what happens when global brands outsource the soul of their products. When the same factory sells the real and the replica, who decides what's real? And here's the question that no one has answered. Could you be wearing a fake right now? That limited edition designer drop, that handbag from a trusted reseller, that luxury item with the wrong box, but the right look? You may have paid top dollar for something made in silence and sold as truth. So, in my opinion, this was the total collapse of the fantasy of luxury brands. It's a reckoning, actually, for consumers, a wake up call. Because this wasn't just about the biggest counterfeit network ever exposed, it was the unraveling of a dream. So now we ask, have you, yes, you, inadvertently paid hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars for a counterfeit item? And going forward, how can any of us trust that the luxury we crave is authentic or even ethically made? This isn't just about handbags. It's about brand trust, about truth, about the price of wanting more than the product could ever promise. Because if the factory made it and the streets sell it and the brand won't admit it, was it ever luxury at all? So, what are we talking by way of money? Well, some reports have projected over $250 billion lost globally to counterfeit luxury goods. 800,000 plus victims across the United States and Europe. TikTok and factory leaks named in over 12 global reports, and luxury industry facing a new crisis: authenticity. And in my opinion, this is a total collapse of the fantasy of luxury. You know, the luxury world isn't just facing a scandal, it's staring down a reckoning. Because no matter how perfect the stitches are in the future, you simply can't sew trust back into a fabric or emboss integrity into leather. And you can't hide the truth forever, not behind a label, not behind a price tag. This wasn't just the biggest counterfeit ring ever exposed. It was the unraveling of something deeper, a belief, a fantasy, a name that defined worth for many, many people. For millions of buyers, the reality hit like a rip through silk. That luxury wasn't always real. Sometimes it was just a beautiful illusion, stitched in silence, but sold at a premium that many, many people were willing to pay. So, guys, leave me a comment. I want to know, have you ever purchased a luxury items? I'm talking hundreds of dollars, maybe even thousands, on shoes or handbags or luxury clothing. Let me know. And where did you buy it? Did you buy it gently used? Did you go into one of the stores? Did you buy it through the mail? Just asking. But as always, guys, thank you for tuning in to Southern Confidential. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. And I will see you next time.